What's up, family? Can we have a heart to heart today? Have you ever felt like you've given and given and you had nothing left to give? You've given your all, and yet it doesn't seem as though anybody sees it, appreciates it, acknowledges it. Have you ever felt like it was all for nothing? You know there's a greater reason. You know there's a purpose for it. But in that moment, it doesn't seem like there's any meaning to it. In that moment, you feel as though it's all in vain. You know it's not. You intuitively know that it's not. You deeply know that it's not. And yet, you feel that you're all alone. You feel like nobody understands. You feel like nobody's getting you. You feel as though it's like, why am I here? What the heck is going on? And those that you would go talk to, those that you would confide in, for some reason, they're hypersensitive spiritually, or they're so religious it's nauseating. And what I mean by that, we all go through things in life to where our back is up against a wall. We all go through things in life to where we don't know if we're going to make it out of. Whether it's an emotional battle, whether it's a loss of a loved one, whether it's a loss of a relationship or loss of income, and you don't know how you're going to make it and provide for the family. It could be anything. It could be the fact that your child is hurt and there's nothing you could do. Your child is sick, your child is battling cancer or something of that nature, and it makes you feel completely helpless. Something about humanity that for some reason, when we're not in that situation, when we're not going through that situation, that we're almost incompassionate to others that are in that situation. And we're so religious and so spiritual, we spew out all these cliches. And I know that our intent is right. I believe that our intent is to help. I believe that our intent is to shed some light. I believe that our intent is to try to get this person out of this dark place. And yet, their words come across as so callous, so disingenuous, so painful, so hurtful. How do we move beyond that? How do we move beyond that pain? How do we move beyond that frustration? How do we move beyond that hurt? How do we move beyond that loneliness? Every one of us is different. Every single one of us. Just like our fingerprints are different. We're different. We have different baggages, different DNA, different experiences. It doesn't make anyone better than anyone else. Doesn't make anyone worse than anyone else. My hope and prayer for humanity is that we find our humanity. I'm going to say that again. My prayer and hope for humanity is that we find our humanity. We've lost it. We've lost it. We've lost our humanity trying to be so spiritual. We've lost our humanity trying to be so religious, trying to be so perfect, trying to be so right, that we dismiss our human nature, that we dismiss that loving, compassionate nature to be our brother's keeper, to be our sister's keeper. So many have gotten so spiritual, they're no humanly good. And I don't say that in a way of putting them down. I say that because it's not real. It's not real. And the truth is, they know it's not real. They know the spiritual place they like to pretend that they're at. It's not real. When the lights are off and nobody's looking at them on social media and they're all alone, whether they have people around them or not, they're all alone in their mind. They know they're not that way. They know they're lonely. They know they're frustrated. They know that they hurt. Regardless of how strong they pretend to be. Regardless of how tough and how together they pretend to be. May we find our humanity. May we learn to take off our mask of having it all together, of pretending to be what we ain't. May we take off our mask that hides our fears, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. In those moments we feel hopeless and helpless. Even though we continue on, if we're honest, we feel helpless. We feel hopeless. And it's crazy because I see and I hear all these religious people and all these spiritual people who talk about God and Jesus, and I'm reminded of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he's praying, and he's praying so intently that he sweats blood. He sweats blood. There is a medical condition that you can be so fearful, so scared, that you sweat blood. And here it is, Jesus, who so many of these people ascribe to or look up to as their savior or as a great man, or perfect man, a role model, whatever. Here it is, this man was so full of fear, so full of anguish that he cried out in prayer to where he sweated blood. He didn't want to go through what he was about to go through. And he cried in anguish, not wanting to go through what he was going through. And he sweated blood. And yet in our religious, pretentious life, we act like everything is perfect. Ain't nothing wrong. Everything's great. Everything's gonna be great. I'm not gonna think about that stuff. I'm not gonna focus about that stuff. It is what it is. To each their own. To each their own. I'm real. I'm not perfect, but I'm real. Truth be told, I get scared. I get scared. And I've said that before. I get scared because I know what's going to happen. I get scared because I know people aren't prepared and ready for what's going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with getting scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared. What matters is how you handle that fear, how you handle that situation. Can you push past it? Can you endure it? There's nothing wrong with feeling lonely. There's nothing wrong with feeling frustrated. There's nothing wrong with feeling helpless and hopeless. That's human nature. That's something that, if truth be told, we all go through. Most people just aren't brave enough, courageous enough to admit it. May you find your humanity. May you find compassion and love and patience. We need it more now than we ever have before. We're going to need it more in the future than we ever have in the past. I love you guys.